Professor Pines! You'll never guess what happened.
There was a shapeshifter and it tried to look like all of us.
Yo, what's going on here?
Back on the beach, you can see that everyone here looks quite worried. The officers, Blurlin and Dubs, walk up to you. They have a new Pokemon at their side that isn't exactly intimidating. Yeah, we're gonna give our officers a very strange Pokemon. It'll be a bit more fitting when it evolves, but it also needs to show that they are suckers for cute things. Anyway, we're combining two things. First off, there is the Lammy dance from Gravity Falls. You know that part where Dipper had to dress up as a lamb and do a little song and dance? Yeah, that. And we're combining it with the Shore Laddie. Hailing from Iceland, it's a monster that looks a lot like a sheep, covered in long matted wool, and the wool is covered with mussels and stones from the sea, as you know, they live on the coast. And yes, I know that between Iceland and Greenland is the one that's actually covered in ice, but this sheep is still going to be part ice type. I also just gotta say how nice it is to find a cryptid monster that isn't a bloodthirsty killer. Well, I say that, but I found one source that said that shore laddies eat pregnant women, which, I mean, like, Iceland? I mean, you guys okay over there? But we're gonna treat this as a friendly herbivore. Okay, let's meet Jangalam, the messy wool Pokemon. This adorable ice type loves playing on the beach and splashing in frigid waters. This leads to Jangalam's fur becoming tangled with bits of ice, stones, and seashells. You can often hear this Pokemon coming as the debris loudly bangs together when they walk. They prefer to distract predators with their cuteness, but are always ready to chuck a rock and flee. The ability is Cute Charm, because it is just so adorable, and that means that contact with the Pokemon may cause infatuation, and the hidden ability is Fluffy, which is a little bit ridiculous. It halves physical damage, but makes it twice as susceptible to Fire-type moves. Yeah. It jangles its shells at you as menacingly as it is able to assist the officers as they grill you about your whereabouts.
And where have you kids been?
Up to trouble, I bet.
No, we were just out exploring that island out there.
And do you know the whereabouts of one Mayor Terry?
Mayor Terry, is he okay?
He was last seen playing on the dock, but he's missing now.
Sorry, we didn't see anything.
But we did! Your friends, Frenda and Sandy, come running up the beach towards you.
Yes, we just saw Mayor Terry being led away by 3 people in hoods.
We couldn't see their faces!
It's the Cipher Squad again. I hate those guys.
And Mayor Terry was wearing a metal collar around his neck, which I don't think is what he normally wears.
Yeah, very unflattering.
And they went into the forest over there.
Officer Dubs, we have to follow them.
That's not how police work goes.
We need to finish getting statements from everybody on the beach.
Hey, you over there, what did you see?
No, the cops! I'm innocent, I swear! Blurlin and Dubs run off, chasing Professor Pines around the beach. Cordelia motions that you follow her towards the forest where Terry was last seen.
Come on, ladies. If we wait for those bozos, we'll never catch up to Terry.
Yeah, we are capable young women who can save Terry on our own.
We're feminine, but not to be messed with.
I am ready to bust some kneecaps.
Whoa, Sandy. Yeah.
You and your ladies pass by a cryptic warning sign and start into the woods. The vegetation is extremely dense here, and it is slow going. On your way, you see some familiar Pokemon like Saratuka, Mushy Mind, and Bukuvant, but you also spot a new species. Time to get a spooky line in here. Well, it certainly isn't going to start out very spooky, but this is a 3-stage line based on ghosts. More specifically, this will pull in elements from the Banshee of Irish folklore, but also some elements from various woman in white ghosts present across the world. It is, however, going to be quite small in the first stage. Not to get too morbid, but this wailing ghost baby is shaped like a lost pacifier. And just to round out the baby appeal, I snuck in some drool and snot. It's pretty gross and loud, but also, I mean, that's how babies are most of the time anyway. I struggled the most with the colors, briefly wanting to go with a light ghostly green until I realized that it made it look too much like a little alien in a UFO, and that's a line I have planned for later in the region. We landed on this nice ghostly purple, and now let's meet Passacry, the Tantrum Pokemon. This tiny ghost type is rarely in a good mood. Any sound will set off Passacry to start screaming. It is almost as if it amplifies other sounds into its own ghostly wail. A good trainer can sometimes calm Passacry, but they still have to deal with its sticky ectoplasmic boogers and drool. The ability is something new called Wraith Wail, and that means that all sound-based moves become ghost type now. And then the hidden ability is Soundproof. It's a pretty easy catch if you need a ghost type for your team, and who knows, maybe it'll be a little less gross when it evolves. The forest is a pain to navigate, however, but luckily Cordelia is confidently tracking the kidnappers. It isn't long before she silently points ahead and begins to sprint forward. The three hooded figures are straight ahead, leading Terry away.
We need to be stealthy here!
The Cipher Squad notices you right away. Two of them turn back and sprint at you, while the last one leads Terry further into the forest. As he goes, you can clearly see Terry is wearing a large metal collar around his neck.
You're going no further. You'll scram if you know what's good for ya.
Who wants to help me with these two?
Maple pushes you at Cordelia.
Here, and we'll catch the last one.
Come back here with our tiny prince!
We're gonna break you into tiny crying pieces!
The other three bound through the foliage in the direction Terry was taken, and you face down the Cipher Squad grunts with Cordelia. Their Pokemon are considerably stronger, and you're glad you didn't leave Cordelia to deal with them alone. They lead with the Hoaxian Dunsparce evolutions to Dunsparce and Venospar. These giant bugs work surprisingly well together and are a total pain to take down. After that, the grunts send out two new evolutions. First up, you remember that little fart monkey based on the skunk ape? Well, Stinkimp is gonna get quite a bit tougher. Still working with the skunk ape, a Bigfoot variant from Florida that, well, I mean, it smells really bad. We're pulling in another classic ape and monkey trope, the tried and true strategy of flinging poop. Yep, poop throwing Pokemon coming your way. Well, technically it is concentrated gas. I mean, this is Pokemon after all. It has specialized pads on its palm that are shaped like a little poop emoji that the gas comes from. But I mean, come on. We all know what's going on here. It's also such a good shot that we get to bring in the fighting type too. Very fun. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Flungunk, the bad gas Pokemon. New pads on this prankster's palms allow it to generate concentrated globs of noxious gas. Flungunk are able to throw their smelly projectiles with unmatched accuracy. This Pokemon is quite easy to find in the wild, as their unfortunate smell can be picked up from quite the distance. The ability is still Stench, so there's a 10% chance to cause the opponent to flinch when they're hit by damaging moves, and the hidden ability is Poison Touch. Yep, it is a pretty tricky monkey to deal with. And the other evolution, well, who remembers the sweet little fairy type Rabbit? Well, what if I told you that it was secretly a regional pre-evolution this whole time? Yep, we actually have a Hoaxian Trubbish. Now, I love Trubbish so stinking much that I just had to squeeze it into the region. This is, of course, based off of trick-or-treating, but more specifically the Summerween trick-or-treating from Gravity Falls. I'm not gonna lie, there's not a ton going on here. It's just a bag of candy, gaining the dark type because of all of the spooky Summerween shenanigans. But I just love Trubbish, what can I say? Alright, let's go ahead and meet Hoaxian Trubbish, the trash bag Pokemon. This variant of the Unovan poison type is instead filled with sweet treats. They have developed a mischievous nature in the Hoax region and love to play tricks on people. After frightening their targets, Hoaxian Trubbish always apologize by offering candy. The ability is Sweet Veil, so that prevents this Pokemon and its allies from falling asleep. I mean, it's got a little sugar rush going on. And the hidden ability is Sticky Hold. The Trubbish waves its floppy arms at you, obviously more excited to meet you than actually battle. The Grunts' last two Pokemon aren't too tough, and you do take them down.
No, not again! Come on, let's go. There's still more stuff we need to harvest for the boss.
One of the Cipher Squad Grunts tosses a smoke bomb at the ground, and the two flee into the woods. Sprinting through the woods to catch up with the others, you find that the forest is becoming much darker, spotted with bioluminescent mushrooms. You take a peek at the journal and see that you are headed for something called the Enchanted Forest.
Maple! Frenda! Sandy! Where are you guys?
We're here. We lost sight of Terry.
And I'm afraid we've gotten a little turned around in this odd forest.
And something is messing with our phones out here.
Sure enough, you don't seem to have any service in this secluded area.
It's probably best if we get somewhere high up and get the lay of the land.
Like that big tree.
There is a massive tree towering over the rest of the Enchanted Forest. It's a bit of a walk, so you reference your journal to see if you can learn anything else of note. And sure enough, in a little sketch, you can see the tall tree. It has a little note that says plane crash. There are also some notes on the Enchanted Forest which state that it is overrun with strange magical Pokemon and a powerful field of whimsy, whatever that means.
This place is pretty cool, though.
It is full of so many fascinating specimens.
As you walk through, you spot some familiar Pokemon like Uglorn, Sprutama, and Foline. It is during this trek that one of Maple's Pokemon evolves. Yep, now with completely maxed out happiness, Maple's shiny Squirrel glows with energy. Oh yeah, time for our great big waddles. We're playing off of the idea of, like when pigs fly a bit, giving this cutie some wing-like ears and a feathery tail, but I didn't want it to be a flying type. I really like the idea of it staying fairy and normal. I mean, it would probably get some flying type moves though. Thinking about the time that Waddles was gigantic in Mabel's fantasy prison in the show, I wanted this to be pretty big too. And with its folds of skin really forming into a Mabel sweater, we get a pretty nice and simple but very Waddles design here. Oh, and of course, the normal colors are boring and brown, as this is still based off of the sad Squonk, but Maple, gets the shiny. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Squaddles, the happy pig Pokemon. Squirrel, who spent enough time with a loving trainer, may evolve into this joyous winged pig. While the wings atop its head aren't strong enough to get it airborne, it can't help but flap them excitedly when it sees its trainer. They have learned to love their appearance and will stick up for anyone being bullied. The ability is Serene Grace, so that doubles the chance for secondary effects. With the hidden abilities being Magic Bounce and Drizzle, this is basically a nice and bulky, really well-equipped support Pokemon. Maple is ecstatic, somehow able to lift this massive Pokemon up into a hug. Meanwhile, you also see that a Pokemon traveling with Frenda, a little Nolo, is reacting to this forest. Something about this field of whimsy is causing it to evolve right before your eyes, but to your surprise, it looks almost identical. Weird. Frenda is a bit confused as well until she takes it into battle against some wild Pokemon and discovers that it has an alternate form in battle. I think we all knew this was coming. In reference to the first episode of Gravity Falls, our little gnome needs to call on its friends to form a towering mass of gnomes. in the same way that Wishy-Washy has its school form, right? And this was a fun challenge, getting a design that looks as though it could be comprised of smaller individuals without getting too complex. Looking at Wishy-Washy, the design is a lot more lenient with the solo forms design when crafting the school form. So with that in mind, I was able to make something that hints at Nolo without being too tied to it. Okay, let's meet No-Lord solo form. So this evolution seems to be identical to Nolo, save for a hat that is covered with spots. Apparently these markings denote this Pokemon is a leader among Nolo. While it is barely stronger than its followers, it is able to call on them to become incredibly formidable. And the ability is Horde, so like schooling, right? Changes into its Horde form if its HP is above 25%, and if it drops below 25%, it reverts back to the solo form. The Horde form, on the other hand, this bulky behemoth is actually comprised of hundreds of individual Nolo working together. A single No-Lord leads the others and maintains the configuration in order to protect the forest it calls home. Unfortunately, when this form has taken enough damage, the Nolo will abandon their leader to continue the battle alone. Now, both Maple and Frenda are excited about their new Pokemon, so you decide to take a look in the nearby forest to see if you can find any new Pokemon. The first of which is hard to miss as it is producing bright lights. Okay, we're gonna do something pretty silly here based off of the flashlight frog. This is a tiny little frog from Cameroon, Africa. It's bioluminescent with a glowing horn on its nose, but we're gonna bring in a couple more things into this design. First off, we're really gonna play up the bioluminescent angle and have this frog glowing like it's partying at a freaking rave, complete with headphones and silly glasses. And the other fun bit at play are the tadpoles in its mouth. These are a reference to mouth-brooding frogs, which carry their frogs and offspring in their mouths. I mean, technically it's like in their vocal sacs, but you get the idea. And it's to keep them safe as they develop. So we get 3 little babies glowing brightly in there. I don't know if this feels a little odd. I mean, we still got other Pokemon like Kangaskhan and Mousehold that have their babies with them. All right, let's meet our raving frog. This is Unce Unce, the rave Pokemon. This squishy frog is always ready for a party. While dancing and swaying, Unce Unce illuminates its surroundings with bright neon lights. 3 babies, which researchers called Uncelings, swim around in this Pokemon's water-filled mouth. These Uncelings can be shot at opponents, but Unce Unce has to hurriedly scoop them back up again afterwards. The ability is soundproof, and that makes it immune to all sound-based moves, which is honestly pretty helpful in this region. We've got a decent amount of sound-based attacks flying around, and the hidden ability is plus. These frogs are having just a great time dancing away in this trippy forest. Now, moving through the underbrush nearby, you spot something absolutely covered in dirt and mud. Okay, I hope you are ready to go full goblin mode here. This is our fantasy forest, so getting a more classic fantasy monster in here was important. This is based off of a goblin, but more specifically the modern term of going goblin mode, wherein you revel in your grossness and live a more simple and hedonistic lifestyle. So this little buddy is just a complete mess and loves it, right? Such a mess and so dirty, in fact, that it is going to be a little mono ground type. I thought about sticking the dark type on it, but especially in more modern depictions of goblins, they aren't necessarily malicious, just a little gross and weird. Though it will certainly, get dark type moves. Now, you can see me struggling a bit with the colors here, as I initially thought that I really needed to lean into the ground type color palette, but you'll see that I ended up swapping things with the shiny in the end. All right, let's go ahead and meet Mucklin, the muddy Pokemon. This delightful little creature relishes in its unkempt and dirty appearance. Mucklin seem incapable of experiencing shame and do what they please. While not malicious, they don't care if others are affected by their unhygienic habits. While trainers should be prepared to be spattered with mud, snot, and other things, they can learn much from a Mucklin's carefree outlook. The ability is Pick Up, so that means that they will obtain single-use items that other Pokemon use in battle, or that are thrown at them with Fling. I like that idea, like, oh, this Pokemon half ate their berry, and Mucklin's like, oh, you're gonna finish that? And, gobbles it up. And the hidden ability is Damp. But what do you think of this messy monster? Can you relate to its outlook on things? Would you go ahead and catch one, even if you need to clean mud off of things all the time? Anyway, you all continue through the glowing forest.
This place is so magical.
Yes, it is as though we are on an epic quest in a new land of adventure.
I feel like a fairy princess!
Well, fairy princess, I hope you are ready to climb.
You've reached the base of the massive tree, but luckily a series of rudimentary ladders and ropes lead up the trunk.
Everyone, roll for athletics!
What's that? Way up at the top. It looks all 80s-y?
Sure enough, through the branches, you see the fuselage of a plane, which you were expecting to see, but it appears to be emanating bright neon lights. You all begin to climb.
What the heck is this place?
I don't know, man. It looks like someone crashed their plane and then decided to just stay here. But who would want to stay in such a colorful spot?
Whoa! Looks like we've got some visitors, babe.
Yeah, it does. Tiny humans, what are you doing all the way out here?
We could ask you the same question.
Oh, where are our manners? I'm Skylar.
And I'm Breeze. We just crashed into the Hoax region like a bunch of years ago, but we found that we just totally vibed with this area.
All the Pokemon are so magical and awesome, so we decided to stay and kind of protect this place.
Babe, we're like totally like guardians of the forest.
Whoa, so noble.
What are you protecting the forest from?
Nothing usually, though some lame squares and hoods did just come by trying to steal from us. They had their eye on this totally sick machine part we found the other day.
Breeze pulls out a device component, this one marked with a propeller.
Ah! It's another piece of the professor's machine! We gotta have it! Give it to us now!
What my enthusiastic friend means is, may we have that pretty please?
Sorry, little ladies, but if we didn't just give it to those people in hoods, we can't just give it to you.
What if we battle you for it? The Pines twins against you two.
You launch into a double battle with your sister against Breeze and Skylar. Maple is ready to rock with her new Squaddles, which is bulky with a lot of really helpful support moves. Your opponents have a number of very powerful Pokemon and work together extremely well as a team, so this is going to be a tough fight. You have to deal with their flying types like Kleptikep and Biddybat, along with some bird-like Pokemon with unexpected typings like the Ghost-type Numorn and the Rock and Fire Capnary. Their final two Pokemon are evolutions for little Atmosleek and Pupadupa. Breeze brings out Atmosleek's evolution. So before we were dealing with air rods or flying fish, photography artifacts of insects flying through frame that are misinterpreted as weird flying alien-ish things. We're going one step further here and pulling in the idea of atmospheric beasts. There are some people who believe that there are huge creatures that live high up in the clouds. Some say that they are extraterrestrial in origin, which works well with this line being, ultra beasts that have adapted to our dimension. But as you can see, we are doing a sky whale. Not nearly as big as Whale Lord, it's still going to be pretty gigantic. We're keeping some of the alien vibes by, giving it 4 eyes. But I did want this to be nice and cuddly. I mean, as cuddly as something that is mainly just cloud fluff and flippers can be. Oh, also, the shiny is pretty sick. Well, you'll see that in a second. Okay, let's say hello to Atmostratus. the high-flying Pokemon. This gargantuan flying type is still remarkably lightweight. Comprised primarily of wispy fluff, Atmostratus are able to soar about with ease and reach surprising speeds with their 6 wings. They live in the skies high above the Hoenn region, but are exceedingly rare on the ground. Their origins remain a mystery. The ability is Unburden, so that raises its speed if it uses a held item. Again, it's so lightweight that that's going to help it a bunch. And the hidden ability is Hydration. It is a cloud after all. It floats high overhead and is surprisingly nimble for its size. Next up, Skylar sends out the evolution for Pupa Dupa. Alright, so this line was based off of the Dundus Blackfly, and we just got the pupa stage last time. Now we get the actual fly. Now, the Dundus Blackfly isn't really that much bigger than a normal fly, especially compared to other cryptids, but this is Pokemon after all, so we're gonna make it pretty darn huge. Now, what makes its inspiration actually scary is that these flies are voracious and will swarm and devour anything. So, playing up that hunger, our great big fly gets not only a knife and fork, but also a cute little bib. It's pretty silly, but I dig it. Also, the eyes are like little reticles, so it can lock in on its target. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Gourmandus, the eating Pokemon. This gigantic insect cannot stop eating. Getting it to focus on anything other than food takes a very skilled trainer. Once their eyes are focused on a scrap of food, it will stop at nothing to consume it. When they are particularly hungry, they have even been witnessed nibbling on their own trainers. The ability is Steelworker, since it's got that knife and fork, and that increases the power of Steel-type moves by 50%. So basically another stab. That's pretty great. And the hidden ability is, it's hungry all the time. It's Gluttony, yeah. It's a big, hungry bug, but luckily, Breeze and Skylar's Pokemon aren't too tough, and you start to whittle away at them.
Oh no, babe! We're like totally losing to these kids! Let's do that thing, that thing!
Breeze clasps her hand over a small gem necklace. She glows and merges with Atmostratus. Okay, so shout out to my friend Bree, who voices Breeze in this episode. Bree is an actual real-life pilot, so I couldn't resist the chance to give her her own plane. Getting stabbed with the water-type moves that it already had, we get a small, speedy plane that is flying and water-type. By just rearranging the fins and fluff, it was super easy to make a plane, complete with wispy propeller blades and a floofy aviator scarf. Getting those clouds to trail really sells the speed, and you'll see when we get to the dex and ability that this bad girl is all about speed. Okay, let's check out Beast Merge Atmostratus, the Steam Jet. The gargantuan whale swallows their trainer when they merge and distorts into this extremely speedy aerial craft. Unlike a normal plane, Beast Merge Atmostratus is able to hover effortlessly in place due to its low weight. The tendrils of thick cloud both help propel the craft forward and can lash out and attack opponents. After unfusing, trainers cough up bits of cloud. Its ability is something new that we're calling Top Speed. So this thing is already super fast. Speed 142. That's amazing. If Trick Room is in place, it gets priority on its attacking move. So basically, you will essentially never outspeed this Beast Merge. It because of those priority moves. Yeah, it's kind of bananas. Maybe it's broken. I don't know. I think it's fun. The plane hovers in place 1 second and then speeds around the battle the next. Next up, Skylar grabs his Beast Merge necklace, and he and his Gourmandus both glow. Okay, I will preface this by saying that I am a huge jerk. Skylar is voiced by my buddy Kyler, who 1 is married to Bree in real life, and 2 happens to be terrified of all insects. So for this Beast Merge, I am choosing to have him consumed by a swarm of insects. I mean, aren't I just the nicest person? But this is going back to the fact that the Dundas Blackfly isn't dangerous because of its size, but instead because of the massive swarms of them that would overwhelm their target. And just for fun, I brought in one of my favorite one-off characters from Gravity Falls, the Hand Witch. So yeah, we get a big hand. That's also very like Floor Master from the Zelda series, but yeah, Hand Witch like. Okay, let's examine the horror that is Beast Merge Gourmandus. The Horde Hand. What was once a single large bug Pokemon explodes into a mass of tiny, writhing insects that completely overtake their trainer. It forms a hand which slowly stomps across the battlefield. Few trainers are brave enough to choose this fate, and after unfusing, the feeling of tiny insect feet crawling over your skin persists. The ability is Overwhelm, and that basically turns Infestation into a bit of a healing move, so that's fun. Now, these two forms are pretty formidable on their own, but this couple works together super well. Gourmandus uses Follow Me to draw in and negate any electric attacks that would, easily fry Atmostratus, and they are free to then smash through your team. It's a tough fight, but you and Maple eventually take down this powerful pair, and they separate from their Pokemon.
That was a gnarly battle, you two. I'm totally impressed. Here you go. You've definitely earned this by kicking our butts big time.
She hands over the device component, which Maple hugs and does a little dance with.
You guys are welcome to chill and hang out with us as long as you'd like. It's pretty sweet up here. I don't know if you'd noticed, but our house is totally a plane.
You hear your Rotom Shift whir to life in your pocket. You pull it out and it scans your environment, then states, Rotom Shift, analyzing data, beep, blorp, bloop. New function added, glider. It shares its code with the others, and you watch as Cordelia pops hers open to reveal a hang glider.
We would love to stay and hang out longer, but we've got to get back. This thing is part of a super secret and important experiment.
And people are starting to go missing in town.
We think that those hooded figures are up to no good.
And plus, I'm hungry. Let's go already. Brenda wants the hang glide.
Everyone else readies themselves to jump and sail back towards town, but you consult the journal's pages and scan your surroundings. Double checking the book, it seems that there is an area of interest labeled extraterrestrial craft nearby. You let the others know that you want to check it out, and they glide away.
I'm as free as a bird!
You jump and start gliding south. There's a stretch of dense forest to trek through still, but you spot some familiar Pokemon here like Ugu, Hirschhop, and Unce. But along with them is a new specimen splashing in a river that you need to cross. It looks like a shark, but you realize it is actually the evolution of Little Lisquid. Okay, we're jumping back to the Lusca, the Caribbean shark octopus monster. We want something that rides the line between squid and shark, so by simply moving the mouth to the side of the squid mantle, we get this pose that really reads like a shark poking its head out of the water. I mean, put a little swimmer above this and it's 100% the Jaws poster. A couple shorter tentacles that can read as pectoral fins, and yeah, we've got a cute little squid shark. Oh, and I am continuing the Garchomp colors for the shiny because, shark reasoning, and it's just a good color palette. Okay, let's meet Luscare, the false shark Pokemon. While it appears like a shark, it is still most similar to Inkay. By twisting its tentacles about, Luscare is able to mimic a much more intimidating predator. Though they pop out of the water and thrash about menacingly, trainers are not in danger from these squids, and they make loyal partners. Their coiled legs even let them waddle out of the water if needed. Its ability is still Suction Cups. I mean, it's a squid, so that negates all moves that force switching out, and the ability is Run Away. It's pretty friendly and even hops out of the water and waddles over to you. If you didn't grab a Lisquid before, would you pick up this evolution now? As you pat the water type on its head, you see something rise out of the river nearby. A massive steel type. In fact, this is Baribembe, which is found in the prehistoric Palean region. What a prehistoric Pokemon like this is doing still alive in the Hoax region is a mystery, but it charges at you, and you are forced to fight it off. It knocks out some of your Pokemon, but luckily you knock it out with your Litlurk. Yep, tiny Litlurk saves the day. And with that, it's finally ready to evolve. So, fun fact, but this is actually one of the very first Pokemon that I designed for the Hoax region. I wanted the teaser trailer to have a couple Pokemon in it, but didn't want them both to be just first stages. So I whipped up this design way back then, and it feels a little weird to only get to it now, but we're continuing with the Mothman inspiration. Though we're bringing in a touch of owl here too. It's kind of got to be a dark type, but our Mothman line certainly isn't going to be malicious, so it continues to use trickery to scare off bigger Pokemon. That big false face is pretty fun, and for those of you who love Litlurk Shiny, don't worry, it's still going to scream Rosy Maple Moth. Okay, let's say hello to Vissalurk, the false face Pokemon. By holding its large, fuzzy wings over its head, this crafty creature is able to create the visage of another much larger and scarier Pokemon. They only use their deceitful tactics against stronger Pokemon, and make sure to lower their disguise around smaller Pokemon to avoid needlessly frightening them. The ability is still that new one that I came up with, Terrorize, that lowers special attack, and the hidden ability is Intimidate. It's a pretty useful little buddy, though it's still not that strong. It seems like it wants to evolve again, but maybe it needs an evolution item or something. Who knows? We'll find out eventually. After all of this traveling, you and your Pokemon are feeling pretty worn out. But to your relief, you run across a road and spot a Pokécenter. You swing on over and see that none other than Looker, of all people, is chatting up the attendant there. He looks fairly concerned, but brightens up when he sees you approach.
Ah, funny running into you all the way out here. I was just getting a statement from this hip person. Can you tell me again what you saw? Yo, dog, there was more of those hooded figures. They came this way and were mad rude to me, and were talking about needing to get some special alloy metal stuff from some crash nearby. How strange. It seems that this Cipher squad is harvesting various materials from all over the region. I do wonder what they could be up to. Catch this, bro. I know this area, and I've never seen any crash site out the direction they were going. So unless there's some secret I don't know about, but that would be straight up whack, you feel me? Oh, I feel you, my friend. Well, don't you worry. I'll check this out. And who knows? Maybe I may be able to get some help tracking down a secret crash site.
Looker gives you a knowing glance and a smile. You nod back, pull out the journal, and tap the cover confidently. You both heal up your Pokemon and start heading towards the clearing marked Extraterrestrial Craft in the journal.
Why am I not surprised that you are already heading to this mysterious location? You and that book seem to always be wrapped up in whatever trouble is going on. But I suppose I should be grateful, because I definitely don't see anything out here. But you're sure this is where the book wants us to go?
You've entered a wide circular clearing, but there's no crash site to be seen. Instead, there's just a couple large but seemingly normal rocks sitting atop a hill at the center. Looker follows you up, and you find that the rocks are actually worn and rounded panels of metal. Tapping one of them gently, you can hear a hollow echo reverberating from inside. Brushing some grass and dirt aside, you even reveal a strange keypad. You furiously dig through the journal for any clue that would give you a combination to open what may very well be a banged up and dented hatch, Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be anything of use there.
No luck there, kid? Well, let's remember that those Cipher Squad goons likely tried to get in too. And they don't strike me as a bunch to calmly figure out a combination. Instead...
Looker runs his fingers along a couple metal panels and finds a lip edge that has been scratched up recently. With little effort, he simply lifts the panel and slides it to reveal a shadowy opening.
Yes, of course they broke in. It's hard to say what this is, but if you're with me, I think we should explore.
You agree and hop down into the opening. You land on a metal walkway, and in response to your presence, a handful of weak and flickering lights come to life around you. It's still quite dark, but you can see that the interior of whatever this is quite massive. The walkway you are standing on is one level of many, which crisscross above a dark void below you. You follow your walkway into an opening and a series of hallways.
I haven't seen anything like this before. The architecture is... well, I hate to even suggest it, but it doesn't feel human to me. It's otherworldly, isn't it? As we explore, be sure to stay close, because we know the Cipher Squad is probably already down here, along with who knows what else.
With Looker at your side, you explore the walkways and winding halls. It isn't long before his suspicions are proven correct, as there are quite a few wild Pokémon that have made their way down here. Isidron, Idle, Kleptokep, and Diagem are found down here. In addition, you see some species that seem to be at home in this crash site, almost as if it's where they originated from. Okay, time for a weird little baby Pokémon. We're going to be combining a few things for this 3-stage line. Firstly, and most prominent in this design, are the black-eyed children. This is a more modern urban legend about children whose eyes are completely black and they mess with people's minds and whatnot. Kinda silly, but fun. And it will start us off with the psychic type. Also, playing off of more psychic things, it's going to have a little tinfoil hat. That's fun, yeah. And lastly, something that will get more developed as it evolves is the idea of the Flatwood Monster, an early extraterrestrial sighting. So smush them all together and you get this nice, simple, creepy space kid. Let's learn about Kringcap, the Space Core Pokemon. On rare occasions, this small psychic type falls through the atmosphere and lands on Earth. Kringcap is actually only a round core with dark, unblinking eyes, but it covers itself with trash in order to blend in on a new planet. It prefers to wear metallic foil on its head, not realizing that it hinders its psychic abilities slightly. Kringcap are wary to trust others, but offering trash and metallic objects win them over. Its ability is Levitate, and it's going to float around with its psychic abilities, and the hidden ability is Opportunist. It swoops this way and that, trying to observe you but stay hidden. Would you chase one of these little things down? Now, the other Pokemon you find isn't fleeing you at all, and instead is just frozen in place. Okay, time for another alien-related thing. We're going to try something pretty out there with this 2-stage design, but it is primarily based off of the Dover Demon. It's debated as to whether or not this cryptid is actually an alien or not. Its appearance is similar, but its behavior is a lot more animalistic, being on all fours and whatnot. Now, we're bringing in some space imagery. It's basically like frozen galaxy texture, but the overall body shape comes from something silly. One of the most likely explanations for what the Dover Demon actually was is that people misidentified a baby moose. So I'm pulling in some elements of that. Yeah, just imagine a poor little scared baby moose just frozen in place. Okay, let's meet little Frozo, the Galaxy Glass Pokemon. Researchers suspect that this stationary psychic type doesn't originate from Earth. Frozo's body is comprised of space itself, compressed and crystallized into a frozen shell. While it rarely moves, staring blankly ahead, the swirling psychic mist inside it hint at its potential. Trainers are advised to wear mittens when petting or moving their Frozo, as their surface can freeze fingers in an instant. The ability is sturdy, so that means that it will survive with 1 HP when it would normally get knocked out, and the hidden ability is Aftermath. This has to be one of the easiest catches in the whole Hoenn region, as little Frozo just stands in place, ready for you to lob a Pokeball at it. Looker follows your lead as you delve deeper into the belly of this strange structure. Eventually, you can hear the clanging of metal and hushed voices. Tiptoeing closer and peering around a corner, you see a few Cipher Squad grunts attempting to pry up some pristine metal paneling. You and Looker know that you'll need to stop whatever they are up to.
All right, you lot. What do you think you're doing here?
Not you again. We just can't get away from this dumb kid, and now they've got some more official-looking help.
Official looking, eh? Well, the name's actually Looker. I'm with Interpol, sent to investigate your organization's criminal behavior. Now, what are you doing down here? What are you taking there?
None of your business. Goody goody. We ain't breaking any laws here.
Yeah, we're just collecting some rare minerals. If the boss wants some shiny metal, we get them shiny metal.
And what does this boss of yours want with all these materials? I've been tracking your activity across the region, and all of the materials you've been taking.
Enough with the questions already.
We don't have time to talk with you two. Either beat it or you'll be sorry.
You and Looker stand your ground, and the grunts throw out Pokemon to battle you. Snooton, Hoaxian Trubbish, Mushy Mind, and Dweebip are a pain to deal with, but you take them all out.
Can't you just leave us in peace?
Let's get out of here. But before we go, here's a little present from the boss.
The Cipher Squad grunts pull a small device from their pocket and power it on. You recognize it as a MUW, or Micro Ultra Wormhole, that can summon Ultra Beasts. A small Ultra Wormhole tears open in front of you, and the Cipher Squad flees.
I'm going after them. I trust you to take care of whatever comes through that.
He chases after the grunts and leaves you alone as something claws its way into your dimension. You know what? Let's really push what an Ultra Beast can be with this one. We're going to very loosely adapt the Bloody Mary urban legend. I have this image in my head of a floating mirror with something trying to claw its way out. I also know that people have been clamoring for me to work the Gravity Falls hench maniacs into the region somehow, so this is giving me a try with the character Teeth. Here's just, teeth, and the idea of the teeth, they're kind of like sliding out of the mirror. It's kind of creepy. I like it. Now, the Bloody Mary urban legend doesn't have exact origins and seems to be a combination of, there's a similar Japanese myth and some various European and American stories, witches and violent rulers and whatnot. I wanted to at least nod to Mary Tudor with the little crown. And then after that, the biggest challenge is just rendering that liquid metal. And as a last-minute addition, I found that I needed to put something that would at least suggest eyes, because the design is already really strange. It needed something to kind of ground it. I may be pushing things a bit too far, but let's learn about Mercrewel, the Reflection Pokemon. UB Mirror's anatomy has researchers stumped. Body, eyes, teeth, tongue, and claws all merge together into an amorphous metallic disc. When Mercrewel grabs prey, it pulls them into its mouth, where they disappear momentarily from our plane of existence. When their target is spat back up, they are shook by the unseen horrors held within. The ability is contrary, so that means that stat changes have the opposite effect on this Pokemon, and the hidden ability is Beast Boost. It's a very tough Ultra Beast, but using your trusty starter Pokemon, you are able to emerge victorious. And to your delight, you find that your starter is evolving into its final stage. First up, let's jump back on the Jackalope train. Now, you'll see that we're also bringing in another big inspiration for each of our final stages. They each get a concept tied to general cryptid culture. Since Hoax region is all about cryptids after all. And our Electric Bunny gets to represent the actual, factual scientists and researchers. These are the people who approach cryptids with an appropriate amount of skepticism and actually require evidence. So, by making our bunny a lop, meaning it has long droopy ears, we can get the overall shape of a lab coat. After that, we've got some nerdy and cute glasses, and lastly, this is borrowing a bit from my actual favorite Pokemon design, Raboot, but this cool researcher just needs some pockets. Now, I had a pretty good handle on this design and the colors early on, but I ended up redrawing this design 3 stinking times. It's a fairly complex design for Pokemon, and I had to find just the right pose and proportions that communicated exactly how the ears and the tail and everything actually relate to one another. Let's go ahead and meet our grass starter's final stage. This is Skeptilop, the innovation Pokemon. This incredibly resourceful grass type is always looking for an edge in battle. Skeptilop search their surroundings for useful berries and items, which they store in their fluffy pockets on their legs. The horns on their heads can store vast amounts of electricity, and they will excitedly dash into thunderstorms and leap into lightning bolts to absorb their charge. The ability is competitive, so that raises the special attack stat by 2 stages whenever it's hit by a move that lowers its stats. The other optional abilities are Overgrow and Cute Charm, and the stats are pretty frail, but it is the fastest starter Pokemon, and honestly one of the fastest Pokemon overall. Using Skeptilop would be all about, getting in and out quick, doing some damage with grass, electric, psychic, and fairy moves, and, probably doing some shenanigans with Volt Switch or manipulating stats with the ability. I'd also love for it to have a signature move, but I don't know exactly what that would be. Maybe something that swaps abilities, or, I don't know, something else tricksy like that. If you have ideas, I would love to hear them down in the comments. I am very happy with how this bunny turned out. I put a lot of pressure on myself since I generally pick grass starters. I also just absolutely love rabbits, and the nerdy skeptic thing is totally my jam. I think it landed somewhere that checks all those boxes. But I don't know, you'll have to let me know. What do you think? If you picked Little Shrubun way back at the start, are you digging this nerd? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our Fire Goat. Yeah. Who is ready for the Jersey Devil proper? Now, just like Skeptilop, this line also gets some cryptid culture inspiration. In particular, this is our gullible, conspiracy-spewing rustic hillbilly. I know that sounds like a little much, but we're having fun. Give him some little overalls and even a scruffy little beard, and, we're definitely getting there. Now, the feet are kind of odd, as this flying type actually rockets around because of those flames. This is a pretty extreme way to get around, but we're playing up another aspect of the line that it isn't really cryptidy, but it is fun, and that is the idea of a daredevil, like good old Evel Knievel. So, it's just having fun and being destructive. This is another design that I just had to do another pass on. In general, I don't spend nearly as much time on my Pokemon designs as I would like, but these are the starters, and in my opinion, they are the absolute most important designs for a region. More so than legendaries or anything else, the starter lines kind of need to be perfect. So You'll see when I show the final art here in a second, but I had to tweak how busy the horns were and change the contrast on the wings so the arm doesn't get lost. Good changes overall. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Kid Evil, the Daredevil Pokemon. Now sporting giant red-hot wings, this playful goat is now able to soar through the sky with some level of control. Kid Evil's superheated hooves provide thrust, but burn the ground whenever it touches down. As destructive as ever, this fire type laughs joyously as it crashes through obstacles and opponents with reckless abandon. The ability is Rock Head, so that protects it from all recoil moves, which it will get plenty of, and the other optional abilities are Blaze and Unaware. So the stats and the ability let Kid Evil be a pretty no-nonsense damage dealer. By ignoring recoil and with a serious attack stat, you can just straight up plow through most opponents. It's also slow enough that you could run it in a Trick Room team, and then it can destroy stuff, with its fire, flying, dark, and fighting type attacks. And again, I feel like this needs a signature move. I don't know, something probably related to recoil or maybe not. I don't know. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them down below. So if Skeptalop was our cute design, this is 100% our goofball design. I'm happy with the personality that is showing through here. I mean, how can you not love this, reckless doofus? So if you picked little Flambilly at the start, how are you feeling about this cannonball of a Pokemon? Let me know your thoughts, down in the comments. But let's go ahead and hop into our final starter. So what are we adding to our Sea Serpent Nessie design? Well, to tie into cryptid culture again, we just need to play up the idea of, secret societies, cover-ups, conspiracies, and shady figures with ill intentions, all that good stuff. And dang, does the ghost type not work perfect for this? Yeah, it's just good stuff. So our man in black look is pretty easy to achieve with the spirit shawl draped around our design, kind of like a cloak or a trench coat. And then we get that dope rim of the hat, and then a little ornamentation on the chest, kind of suggests a tie. Yeah, we've got a real slick customer here. And I know this is definitely kind of stepping on Intellion's toes as the James Bond secret agent thing. But since I am not a huge fan of Intellion's design, I am definitely fine with it. In fact, to quote Angel from our Discord, when he saw this design early, he said, "Intellion found dead in a ditch." All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and meet the new agent on the scene. This is Conspector, the covert Pokemon. Walls of thick, eerie fog precede this mysterious ghost type's arrival. It prefers to stay hidden, clad in a cloak of concentrated spiritual energy, which allows it to hide effortlessly in the shadows. Conspector shrugs off most attacks, and its wide variety of moves makes it nearly impossible to predict in battle. It will protect its friends no matter the means and no matter the cost. The ability is Infiltrator, which means that it basically ignores the effects of Reflect, Light Screen, and Safeguard. So it's going to hit you. It's going to hit you no matter what. And then its other optional abilities are Torrent and Swift Swim. It is decently bulky, but other than that, the stats are relatively balanced. I want this to be very versatile, depending on how you train it and what moves you give it. Lots of moves to choose from, water, ghost, fighting, poison, etc. And I think it also needs a signature move. I don't know, kind of related to it having Infiltrator. Maybe its signature move doesn't do a ton of damage, but it can hit through Protect or around Substitute or something. Let me know what you come up with down in the comments. Conspector definitely completes our starter trio as the undeniably cool one. But if you picked Koibra at the start, how are you feeling about your mysterious partner now? Anyone out there change their starter choice now that you have seen the final stages? Oh, and don't worry, these three still have some surprises in store. I mean, eventually we'll have to give them some beast merge forms. But let's get back to the story at hand. There is no doubt in your mind that whatever is going on with the Cipher Squad, it's getting serious. Now, you've completely lost Looker, but decide that it is best for you to fill in the professor on everything going on. You make your way back out of the buried craft and back up to the surface and head back to the research shack. We'll pick up from there in the next episode, but before we go, let's actually check in on the decks. It's really nice to have finally filled in those empty spots with the starters, but we've got a lot of work to go still. This is episode 25 of 50, so we are officially halfway through the series. With the gaps we have left, we'll definitely start getting more evolutions than new Pokemon, so you'll have to let me know if there are any evolutions that you are really looking forward to.
So, these yahoos are collecting a bunch of materials from all over the region? Strange stuff, kid. You said so far they're taking crystals from the woods, circuitry from the arcade, and now some alloy from a crash site? Huh. It seems like they might be building something, but it's hard to say what.
Hey, Professor. Maybe we could ask McFadden about it. That dude is always building, like, super wacky stuff at his junkyard.
Yeah, I don't know, Moose. That guy has a few screws loose, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's like majorly cuckoo banana pants. But he's probably our best shot.
Ugh, I hate that you're right. All right, Moose, you're coming to act as a buffer. McFadden always likes to pretend like he's a good friend. It's very annoying.
You got it, Professor. Oh, and hey dude, give me your map. If you didn't know, McFadden's junkyard is way out here.
Moose adds an icon to your map, and with that, the three of you fast travel as far as you can and then finish walking to the other side of the region. There is a stretch of barren desert that you need to cross, and you see some familiar Pokemon here like Kittycact, Serioku, and even the rare Molunder. You're feeling a little parched as you finally make it to McFadden's junkyard. A huge fence wraps around the property, but you can still see piles of junk and debris beyond. The professor approaches a large gate and presses a pieced-together call box.
McFadden, are you there?
You know, it's hard to say. Who's asking?
It's me and the professor. We need your help with something.
The professor, you say? My old buddy? I'll be right there.
Yep, I knew this was a mistake.
A moment later, the gate opens.
Come in. How's my best good buddy doing these days? I honestly feel like you've been avoiding me.
McFadden, how many times do I have to tell you we don't actually know each other?
Nonsense! We're best buds. Or at least I think we are. I feel like I remember us working together. I mean, my brain is a little fuzzy these days. But we worked together, right? We filled up some books with our findings, didn't we?
No, that didn't happen. Anyway, let's get on with things. Moose?
Oh yeah, so here's the situation, Mr. McFadden. Those Cipher Squad jerks are stealing stuff, and we think they're trying to build something strange. But we're not sure what.
Something strange, you say?
Totally. They're taking crystals and circuits and alien metals and stuff. And since you invent weird stuff, I mean, I'm pretty sure you've got some anime mechs lying around here.
What's an anime?
That is a lesson for another time. But now, do you have any idea what they could be making?
It sounds familiar. Like I wrote it down long ago. Not in the first book. That was mainly notes on the region. Not in the second book. That was mostly about ultra wormholes. It was in the third book. But that was about something that makes my mind all fuzzy again.
The books, eh?
You observe the professor as he fidgets nervously. You know that you have the first book, as its notes on the region have proved extremely useful, but now you are becoming more and more convinced that the professor has the second journal, as his research centers around ultra wormholes. But you haven't seen anything about a third journal yet.
McFadden, are you okay?
Of course I am. I know my brain's a little scrambled these days, but I'm still able to figure stuff out. In fact, I'm still doing research. Looky here, trying to figure out what this thing is that fell out of the sky a bit ago. Reminds me of something from book 2.
McFadden pulls out a device component with lightning bolt glasses on it.
Oh, sweet salsa verde. Maybe this trip wasn't a total waste. Say there, buddy, how about you hand that over to your trusted friend? I'm sure I could figure it out for you.
Hey now, weren't you just denying we was even friends?
What? No, I was joking. Funny joke.
I think you was mocking me, just like the hillbilly what lives in my mirror. But I'll tell you what, I could go for a good old-fashioned Pokemon battle. Defeat me and it's yours. And let's see who will battle me. Eeny, meeny, miny, you.
McFadden points at you and immediately launches into a battle. His first Pokemon doesn't look too tough, though. So, I know we've got plenty of modern cryptids in the region, but I did want to sprinkle in some ancient monsters just for fun. So this 3-stage line is going to start out inspired by cockatrice and basilisk-y monsters. So we're going to lean into the paralysis condition and, the fact that these monsters, they freeze their prey to land on the electric type. I hope that works. Yeah, we're going to say that works. Beyond that, I don't know, we've got a fanged chicken who's pretty darn goofy looking. Since this will evolve 2 more times, I couldn't let the design get too complicated, but also it's something that you wouldn't run into until a little bit later into the region, so I don't want it to look too much like a baby Pokemon. I think we landed on a good balance here. I really like the color palette that I landed on. It fits, like a chicken or a rooster well enough, but it also hints at the secondary typing that it will get when it evolves. Okay, let's say hello to Shockatrice, the odd chicken Pokemon. While not particularly intelligent or capable, this flightless bird still manages to paralyze opponents. A combination of Shockatrice's off-putting stare and a brush from their single long electrified tail feather can leave even the toughest Pokemon completely frozen. They can be obnoxious to deal with, but can be easily distracted with bird seed and berries. The ability is, static. It's going to be, paralyzing everybody. So if anybody makes contact with it with a contact move, there's a chance that they'll become paralyzed. And the hidden ability is Lightning Rod. Its ability to paralyze your team is a real pain in the butt, but luckily, it's a relatively weak Pokemon. Next up, you see that McFadden has a good old Oonce. It dances about, but doesn't cause you too much trouble. After that is a new evolution. Hey, you remember that strange Missin' Bit Pokemon from the arcade? Well, let's see what it can turn into. And we're really going to push what a Pokemon can be with this one. I knew that I wanted to pull in Giffany and Rumble McSkirmish, a couple of the best characters from Gravity Falls in my opinion. I wanted to pull those in. Initially, I figured I would do a split evolution, but then I had a much more interesting idea. I don't have any real gender differences for any of the other Hoaxian Pokemon, and this is a perfect place for it. Now here's the weird part. The 2 versions will look very different, but actually be comprised of exactly the same shapes. So there's a square and a circle and some triangles and a couple wire ribbony bits that are just in different configurations for the 2 body plans. Kind of like Missin' Bit, we're going to do the pixelated appearance, which is a pain in Photoshop, but I get there. But yeah, we've got a new evolution with some pretty drastic gender differences. This is Giffino, the glitch Pokemon. Researchers have determined this electric type is an Ultra Beast still adapting to our world. While it has incorporated wires to interact with physical objects, Giffino's body is still comprised of electrical energy compressed into pixelated 2-dimensional planes. The 2 genders are made up of the same shapes, so the only real difference is how it pronounces its own name. The female version is Giffany, and the male version is Jiffany, because I'm stupid and I think that's funny. Also, the female version has the ability Love Lover, so that will boost fairy type moves. Since both of these genders are pure electric, it'll get some coverage. And then the male version gets Fight Fighter, which does the same thing for fighting type moves. Also, their shinies are very fun because it's essentially the same body plan, but it swaps out for the other pixel art. It's very stupid, but whatever, I think it's fun. McFadden actually has both genders on his team, so you end up having to fight both of them back to back, and once you weather their fairy and fighting type attacks, the last Pokemon is sent out. And it is a rather large evolution to Ugu. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. Quick reminder: Ugu was based on there's like a salamander monster mutation-y thing from a very polluted lake. So we're really leaning into the radioactive angle and giving it the electric type. I mean, like poison and electric together, that feels very radioactive to me. It now also gains a pair of additional arms. Though I did want it to still feel science-y, so there's these kind of like glass beaker bubbles on its back full of poison. Oh, I took the foldy skin that, like, you know, some salamanders have going down their sides, turned that into a lightning bolt pattern. Plopped a radioactive symbol on its forehead, and then I give it just the happiest expression ever, and we end up with Guganton, the slime Pokemon. After devouring enough toxic waste, the tiny Ugu is able to evolve into the massive and only slightly radioactive Guganton. They are a loving companion and enjoy giving powerful hugs with their forearms. Trainers are highly encouraged to invest in a hazmat suit. The ability is the Power of Alchemy, and that means that it will copy the ability of any opponent that it defeats, so that's super fun, with the hidden abilities being Gluttony and Liquid Ooze. It hits the field, and you know that as a poison and electric type, you can absolutely destroy it with a ground type attack. As you send an appropriately devastating attack its way, McFadden clasps a Beast Merge necklace and fuses with his partner. Who is ready for McFadden to get a big old robot? I thought about making this a nod to the Gobblewonker, but it ended up feeling unnecessary. We've already got like a water starter who represents sea serpents, and then the prehistoric Berry Bembe looks surprisingly similar to the Gobblewonker already, and it's a steel type. So instead, we are going full Shakatron from the Gravity Falls finale. We are swapping to a steel and electric typing for that reason, and we even get to maintain the like dinosaur jaws on the one arm by putting like a kind of maw on this. It works. This design came together surprisingly well and fast for like a, I don't know, mechanical design. And yeah, we get another strange Beast Merge form. Okay. Let's learn all about Beast Merge Guganton. The Mecha Menace. A bubble made of super strong glass protects the trainer as the rest of Guganton's body morphs into this robotic form. Powered by intense radiation, this mechanical powerhouse is able to destroy its opponents with either brutal punches or corrosive slime. And a steel electric type? What? With levitate? That's crazy. Yeah, so it's going to get to float around and not have to worry about any of those pesky ground type attacks anymore. Maybe that's kind of mean. I don't know. I think it's fun. It takes all of your final Pokemon's effort, but you are eventually able to knock out your opponent. McFadden brushes himself off, thanks his Pokemon, and hands you the device component.
Well done! You've earned this for sure. I wish I could help you more, but all I can say is it has something to do with that third book that you and I wrote. Remember, Wilford?
Again, that is not a thing I remember.
I kind of remember sitting in the town museum writing it with you. Don't I?
That's it, dude. Maybe if we take McFadden back to the museum, that'll, jog his memory.
I mean, I guess it's worth a shot.
Oh boy, Wilfred Pines and William Piddleforth McHadron back together again.
Oh, brother.
You all head out, with your eyes set on the museum at the center of Twin Falls. You arrive at the museum, which appears to be closed, but you are greeted by some familiar faces standing outside. Maple seems to be trying to peek through the museum windows with her friends Sandy and Frenda.
Oh my gosh, shut your butt! What are you guys doing here?
Oh, we found this old hillbilly, and he's got, answers about these mysterious journal books up in his brain. So we're trying to coax it out by coming to where he wrote stuff. What are you guys doing here?
There's been word that some of the Cipher Squad goons were hanging out in the museum, so we thought we would investigate.
Maple, what did I tell you about going after trouble like this?
Don't go alone? And look, I've already got backup.
Yes, we are the backup. Tough stuff here.
Yeah, this backup's got your back for sure, Maple.
That's double backup. And now you guys show up, I've got quadruple double backup.
All right, fine. Well, let's see what we can find here.
But how do we do that when the museum is closed?
Well, I'll start by saying that what I am about to do is not a crime, all right? Locking away all that museum-y knowledge behind closed doors, isn't that the real crime?
You watch as the professor expertly picks the lock on the front door, and he ushers everyone inside. You are left to explore the museum, which initially appears to be abandoned, but it isn't long before you discover that it is crawling with wild Pokémon, some of which you have seen before, like Flungunk, Hoaxian Trubbish, and Phasbagor, but there's also a new addition. Let's check it out. Okay, we're gonna start this 2-stage line with a little demon. Now, it's debatable if you want to lump demons and devils and whatnot in with cryptids, but from my perspective, they fall into that, folklore camp. So we're adding them in here. Plus, this will eventually gain aspects from the Hodag cryptid when it evolves, so this is a good starting point. And I want another Pokemon that can fit on any Cipher Squad grunts teams, so we're definitely aiming for a little devil henchman look. Think of Pain and Panic from the Disney Hercules movie. If you've seen that, it's a good one. Beyond that, the only thing that I wanted was a functional forked tail, which will make more sense when we get to the Dex entry. All right, let's say hello to Torshad, the roasting Pokemon. This eager little reptile loves sticking berries on its forked tail and then roasting them with its fire breath. Torshad are very particular about what they eat and will spend most of a day perfectly preparing its meals. While some find it a bit scary looking at first, by sharing their food, they quickly win over people and Pokemon alike. Its ability is Flash Fire, so instead of taking damage from Fire-type moves, it has its own Fire-type attacks boosted by 50%, with the hidden ability being Blaze. These little goobers are pretty friendly, so likely wouldn't be too difficult to catch if you needed a Fire-type. After battling through the halls, it seems that one of Maple's Pokemon, little Kleptokept, is finally ready to evolve. Okay, so reminder, this line is based on birds that collect shiny objects, so Kleptokept was a blue jay, and this second stage is based off of a bowerbird, which collects colorful shinies to decorate its nest. We're actually going to pull the look of the nest and work it into the design itself, it's carrying its nest around with it wherever it goes. That's fun. Now, these colors are nice and metallic, with the shiny, again, being a reference to the final evolution and the Alicanto bird. But for now, let's learn all about Kleptonest, the collector Pokemon. Unfortunately, this bird has both ingested so much metal and woven other pieces into its feathers that it is no longer able to fly. While it may be heavy, Kleptokept are surprisingly fast as they flee to protect their shiny hoard. Their feathers now shimmer with the metal that they have developed an appetite for. The ability is Pick Up, so that lets it pick up objects when moving around and also catch things that are thrown at it with Fling. And the hidden ability is Frisk. I mean, it's got to steal all that stuff. This is also really fun that we had a mono flying type, and instead of just adding steel, it is changing to the steel type. Yeah, that's fun. Maple is so excited to have her little metallic bird, which skitters off looking for shiny things, and she, chases after it. You also feel as if there's another Pokemon out there. It feels like you're being watched, but you don't see anything. You go searching, and when you turn a corner, you bump straight into Glee, nearly knocking them off their feet. They seem to be hiding something behind their back, but it's tough to see what it is.
Watch where you're going. You! What are you doing in here? The museum is closed right now, and don't you even ask me what I'm doing here. I, have special permissions. Now, if you know what is good for you, you'll scram right now.
Stubborn and silent as ever, you stand your ground and crane your neck to see what Glee is holding behind them.
Fine, whatever, you got lucky last time. Now you're going to pay.
With one free hand, Glee lets loose a Pokemon at you. Alright, I've been waiting a long time to finally introduce our Hide Behind. If you're not familiar with this cryptid, which only makes a brief appearance in a Gravity Falls short, it is a creature that stalks you in the woods, but it is always able to remain hidden behind the trees. It's another one of those, nobody knows exactly what it looks like types of monsters. But I've always loved the depictions where it is made up of, almost gnarled branches. I mean, it's hiding in the trees, so it needs to blend in. Now, this won't be a grass type. It'll just kind of look that way, almost like Sudowoodo. Now, this was a very fun design to work on. We've got this weird pose that shows how it is able to squish and bend its body to hide behind stuff, and it makes it nice and creepy. And then I've got this fun kind of subtle woodworks and the burls in the wood. Yeah, I like it. All right, let's go ahead and meet Detroke, the unseen Pokemon. This dark type's twisted limbs are perfectly camouflaged among the dense Hoaxian forests. Detroke are so good at contorting their bodies and hiding behind even the thinnest of objects that they often leave the woods and prowl urban environments. Catching a glimpse of one in the wild is rare, and it must trust its trainer fully to reveal itself in broad daylight. The ability is something new, we're calling Out of Sight, so that means if it is ever behind a substitute, so if it uses the move Substitute, it will gain 1/16 of its HP each turn. And then the hidden ability is Runaway. I think that makes sense. You suspect that this is the Pokemon that was watching you in the halls, and after this is done, you may need to try your hand at actually tracking one down for yourself. But for now, Glee sends out a Stuckabout. It isn't too tough, and Glee sends out another Pokemon, the evolution to Little Creamcap. Alrighty, so we're going from the Black-Eyed Children to the Flatwoods Monster. This is classic sci-fi here. We want it silly and ridiculous looking, while still, capturing the Flatwood Monster's iconic silhouette. That big hood is just kind of funny. So we're gonna run with it, and now it's gonna be almost kind of like a satellite dish or like a chunk of spacecraft. Now, rendering the metal is always a bit of a challenge, but I'm pretty happy with where we wound up. I want it to look metallic, but not too shiny. When we get to the final stage for this line, that's where I want it to look, like super slick. For now, let's go ahead and meet Smeltip, the Space Core Pokemon. By scouring its surroundings, this resourceful Psychic type is able to fashion protection from garbage and sheets of metal. The metal dish around Smeltip's central core now helps focus its psychic abilities. The fabric skirt beneath its core appears to be just a fashion choice. It is fascinated by much of the world around it, causing its unblinking eyes to levitate out of its head. The ability is then Levitate, so that means it's immune to ground-based moves, and the hidden ability is Opportunist. It roughs up some of your team, but you manage to take it down. Glee is nearly out of breath from the battle alone, but clasps their necklace and merges with their trusty foe line. Luckily, you already know how to deal with this beast merge form. Glee is really going to have to step up their game, and you take them down. Glee violently separates and flies across the room. When they land, you can finally see what was being hidden before. A book. A journal, really. Very similar to your own. And Glee scrambles to the book, scoops it up, and flees down a hallway. But as they do, you see that a partial page has fallen out. You lift it up and examine it. Much of the details are missing, but it appears to be some kind of collar, and it shows the required components to build it. You backtrack to the lobby and hand the page over to the professor.
What? What did you find? What is this supposed to be?
Whoa, what is this? A control device?
That's it! From the third journal! Those early experiments creating that device, that's, I think, what scrambled up my brain.
You designed this?
I think we did, Wilfred and myself. And I think we shouldn't have tested it on me.
I would have remembered frying your brain with some device like this. I didn't make this, buddy.
Maybe you didn't. I just can't remember anything these days. But I do know, it seems like Glee had this page, and has the rest of my book what it came from. Who knows what terrible plans are in the works already?
Well, Glee and terrible are pretty synonymous.
Just then, Maple and Grenda come barreling down a hallway.
There you guys are. Have any of you seen Sandy?
We lost sight of her as we were exploring, and now we can't find her anywhere. You lost your backup. Oh, we need to find her. I don't like how all these people keep going missing when the Cipher Squad is around. Maple, Brenda, do another loop of the museum. Moose, stay here with McFadden in case she comes back, and Kid, you come with me. Let's go look outside.
You follow the professor outside, and as you check around the building, you spot a group of people. It seems that Cordelia is trying to wrench Sandy away from Glee and a group of hooded Cipher Squad members. As you approach, Cordelia is pushed to the ground. Glee sees you, squeals, and starts to book it towards their tent in the distance, while Sandy and the others disappear through the fog to the south.
Okay, I'm going after that brat, Glee. You go get Cordelia and follow Sandy. Maple's counting on you to get Sandy back.
You help Cordelia to her feet and start south after your kidnapped friend.
I've had it up to here with these chumps. Kidnapping people from town is one thing, but nobody messes with Sandy. I'm sure that I saw them going this way.
You follow Cordelia as she squeezes through a broken fence nearby, and you emerge in an abandoned mini-golf course. You spot a handful of hooded figures leading Sandy away. Her expression is strangely blank, and she just follows wherever she's being led. You navigate around to catch up, but you find several obstacles. Some of the Cipher Squad grunts fall back to battle you and slow you down with their Hoaxian Trubbish, Biddybat, and Dweebip, but they aren't too much trouble for you and Cordelia battling together. But unfortunately, there are some wild Pokemon here as well. Along with, Phasmagore and Pasticry, you see a couple new species. The first you find peering out of a windmill, and it scurries over to investigate you. So we're gonna pay homage to one of the silliest Gravity Falls episodes. You know them, you love them. It's the Lilliputians. Their play off of the Lilliputians from Gulliver's Travels. And we're also gonna reference the various small humanoid cryptids from around the world, like the Ebugogo from Indonesia, which it wasn't until I was doing research that I found out that the Ebugogo may actually just be like oral history passed down of when the indigenous population shared the island with Homo floresiensis, which is just bananas to think about. That's crazy. So, as far as Ebugogo goes, this design is going to be, small and fast and have a big flat nose, just like them. Beyond that, we've got some feet that feel like the little Gravity Falls Lilliputians clogs. And to reference the different themed golf balls in that episode, you can catch this Pokeball mimic in different Pokeball patterns. Yeah, that's always fun. Okay, let's meet little Tiwi, the golf ball Pokemon. These tiny normal types are surprisingly durable. Tiwi prefer to live in urban environments, often forming large groups in abandoned buildings. The Hoax region is known to have a large population of Tiwi, which have taken over an old mini golf course. Communities are distinguishable by their differently colored head domes, which match various Pokeball patterns for some unknown reason. The ability is Filter, so that reduces damage from super effective attacks, and the hidden ability is Sturdy. There are a ton of these little guys around, so if you want a small but tough normal type, now's your chance to get one. After that, you spot something cleaning up this dilapidated place. I knew that I'd wanted some kind of Fey sprite in this region. Just a nice, solid mono fairy type, but I didn't want it to look like just a cartoon version of a fairy. No Tinkerbells here. So, looking at my options, I landed on a brownie, which are European house sprites that help clean and do chores, but if you make them mad, they get mean and destroy your things. So by combining the cap that some of these little helpers wear with brooms and dusters and removing basically everything else that I could, we get this super simple design. Now the fun challenge for this was making a face that made sense upside down as well, since I am going to give it a gimmick similar to Morpeko's hangry forms, only this guy spins upside down. It takes the happy expression and makes it mad, and that hat is then kind of pointy like horn. It makes a lot more sense once it's animated. So let's check out the decks for Flipint, the unstable Pokemon. These helpful sprites spend much of their time tidying up spaces. Flipint alternate between loving their work and resenting the cleaning that they do. Even skilled trainers struggle to keep their Pokemon content all of the time. When Flipint spins its body upside down, you know you are in for a temper tantrum. Upset this Pokemon enough, and it will stop cleaning and trash its surroundings. The ability is Sweep Switch, so that changes forms every turn between happy and grumpy modes. This changes the type of Flipint's signature move, Emotion Swirl, so it will essentially go from fairy to a dark type. If you think you could deal with its mood swings, it's a pretty nice fairy type to add to your team. While you are searching about, you stumble across some evolution items, both a Flame Feather and Mud Mold. You know what that means, time to create another final Idle evolution. So, if you have either Fitchix or Folil, you would be able to give them the missing evolution item. And combining the bird and horse features together, we just need a Hippogriff. We're going to do our wings out of just the flames to keep the design from getting too complicated, especially compared to the other final Idle evolutions that we have coming. The head posture and expression were important for this design, as the stiffness and kind of discomfort are key, but that'll make more sense when we get to the decks. Now, even though it's a ground type, you can think of this guy as being a bit like a candle. Oh, and for fun, we went ahead and did black flames for the shiny, because, I don't know, that's just cool. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Gripponif, the burning Pokemon. With a combination of the Mudmold and Flame Feather items, an Idle can evolve into this unfortunate combination. Gripponif isn't quite in pain, but is always a little bit uncomfortable as its two flaming wings slowly burn up its sandy body. While less than ideal, Gripponif takes pride in its powerful appearance, and luckily it regenerates its sandy body just by walking about. The ability is Dousable, which is a new fun one. So being hit by a water type attack removes the user's fire typing and increases their defenses by 2 stages. Oh, and the hidden ability is Flash Fire. Would you fully evolve your Idle into this unfortunate creature, or are you holding off? There are 4 more potential final Idle evolutions after this one and Maramigi, but you'll have to wait a little longer for those. Continuing on, you also spot a strange Pokemon hiding in one of the mini-golf dioramas. It appears to be a little terrestrial bat. Desmort is actually native to the Palean region, but you've heard word that they've actually been spotted elsewhere. Capable of evolving into either an Alabrize or Chupabrihe, you may want to catch one, but right now, you need to get Sandy. You do your best to catch her, but the 2 Cipher Squad grunts with her disappear through another gap in the fence on the other end of the course before you can get there to stop them.
No! Come on, we can still catch up to them. We need to be fast, though. If they get too much of a head start, we'll have no chance of finding them, and,
Cordelia pulls you through the fence, and you are left standing before a grisly forest of bare trees blanketed in thick fog. It is too late. Sandy is nowhere to be seen.
No! Come on, man! These woods are the worst! My ex-boyfriend, Valentino, hangs out in here all the time, and... Oh, I hate that I'm even suggesting this, but if anyone can find those goons in all this fog, he'll be able to.
She adds an icon to your map. Apparently, he likes to hang out in an abandoned store off farther to the west.
Come on. Maybe we'll run into the Cipher Squad before we actually have to deal with Valentino. But let's be careful. There are some kinda tricky Pokemon out here.
You spot some familiar species like Uglorn, Visselurk, and Mushy Mind, none of which are too bad to deal with, but you see what she means when something new pops out of the mist at you. Alright, I am not gonna lie, this design is really just an excuse for me to put one of my favorite animals into the region. Based off of the Azaban, a trickster from Abenaki mythology, it is a playful and mischievous little raccoon. Now, not to play favorites too much, but I did want this to not just be a normal raccoon, I wanted it to be pretty special. So, along with it being very difficult to catch, it's going to be another one of our, ultra beasts that wound up in the Hoenn region and has just adapted. Similar to how, Foline is tentacles, which look like a cat, this is more of a ribbon or paper strip that folds itself to look like a raccoon. Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of like the Cheshire Cat a little bit, that kind of twirling effect. I love it. All right, let's learn all about Azaboon, the trickster Pokemon. These mischievous creatures appear to be an Ultra Beast which has adapted to life in the Hoenn region. Azaboon are incredibly rare and experts at avoiding detection. When they feel threatened, they conjure billowing clouds of fog, which allow them to either flee or pick their target's pockets. Befriending this trickster requires a great deal of patience and berries. The ability is, it's gotta get Prankster, with the hidden ability being Magician, so it can steal things. This tricky goober conjures up disorienting mist and flees right away. There would be a way to catch this Pokemon, but I imagine it being a bit of a side quest to get. Almost like how you need to put in the work to get Spiritomb in Legends Arceus. I don't know exactly what this quest would be, so if you have any ideas, let me know about them down in the comments. Now, unfortunately, whatever weird mist it conjured continues to linger on, affecting your sense of direction. Even the map on your phone is completely useless as it can't pinpoint your location. Cordelia, uncharacteristically frustrated, taps at her phone.
Dang it! This is the butts! I'm completely turned around now. I'm not even sure which way is north at this point. Do we just pick a random direction and keep going? Well, crap.
Your own frustration subsides when you consult the journal and find a note about the woods. It seems that all the trees here dislike the sun and lean ever so slightly north. With this information, you reorient and continue west.
That's what I'm talking about, man! Using that big nerd brain to save the day! And hey, look! I actually think I see something ahead.
After trekking through the thick fog, you can see the lights of a building.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, there should be a Poke Center that's still open over here. We may want to heal up before we deal with Valentino.
Sure enough, as you pass through the last bit of fog, you see two buildings next to one another. There's a dilapidated store further on, with cracked windows and glowing with moody lighting, but next to it is a bright and cheery Poke Center manned by an eagerly waving attendant.
Yo, what a do? We don't get many folk out here. Just Valentino who be straight up soaking in the store next door.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're here to see him.
Let me heal up your Pokemon for you, dog.
Thanks, dog.
You leave the hip Pokemon attendant and enter the creepy abandoned store. Having only met Valentino once before, you immediately understand why he likes this place. It is filled with dark and cool clothing and various accessories.
Valentino, where you at? I know you're in here.
Cordy, is that you? Did you come to take me back?
No, man. We went on one date and it didn't work. We're not a thing.
Oh, you probably just came because you heard that I found this, and you just want to take it. Just like you stole my heart.
What? No, that's not why we're here. But, I mean, yeah, I guess we want that too.
Well, what do you want then?
Our friend Sandy got captured by some of those Cipher Squad goons and took her out into the fog around here. We were hoping you could help us find her since you basically live out here.
Well, I mean, I am pretty tough. I could probably take care of those Cipher losers for you, but I don't actually know how to get around that well.
What do you mean? You're always out here, aren't you?
Yeah, but I just have the Poke Center guy give me a ride out here. I'm not crazy enough to walk out there alone.
Ugh! What good are you? Just give us the device component then.
What? No! I won't let you take literally everything from me.
Fine. I'll just battle you and take it.
No way. I can't fight you. You're like my love.
Cordelia facepalms, sighs, and looks over to you.
You want to beat this useless idiot for me real fast so we can be on our way?
You happily agree and challenge Valentino. Unfortunately, he isn't quite the pushover that he initially seemed. He leads with a little bitty bat. It's not too tough, but Valentino's next Pokemon is its evolution. Okay, so quick reminder, while Bitty Bat has more of a general vampire vibe, the rest of this line is going to be based on the Manananggal, which is a particularly horrifying flying torso monster. It's pretty messed up. We're going to get part of the way there with this design, though we're not going to let it fully separate yet. Instead, we're going to do this as a cutesy and Pokemon-y take on it. So instead of super gruesome entrails, we get this little spring between the two halves. It hides the yuckiness of the inspiration and also lets it spring up into the air. And just to play with the fact that it is torn in half, it will gain the ghost typing. I like that this line, it's doing its best not to become an actual dark type. I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous, but I like it. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Sproingut, the spring bat Pokemon. When exposed to a Reaper Cloth, a Bitty Bat is so conflicted by its spooky typing that it is literally torn apart during its evolution. Sproingut have accepted their role as ambush predators, contracting their coiled body and springing out to surprise their prey. Luckily, they haven't given into their ghostly side completely and still care for their trainers immensely. Its ability is Strong Jaw, which powers up biting moves, and the hidden ability is Infiltrator. It bounces and flutters around the battlefield, constantly biting at your team, but you eventually take it down. Next up, Valentino sends out a Detroke, which keeps avoiding your attacks with substitutes, but eventually you whittle away until it also faints. Now, though Valentino is a Dark-type specialist, I like that he's using some wild cards, and next up, we have the evolution to the ever-hungry Ice-type Nomble. This 3-stage line is based on the Chenoo and other cold climate folklore from the First Nations. Now, The Chinoo is very interesting as it is said to have a literal burning hunger that takes over its body and kind of starts to burn it up. So this gets us an actually justified ice and fire type. Wanting to sprinkle in just a dash of Yeti, this guy also feels a little bit like Rankin and Bass stop motion abominable snowman. I think that's fun. I worked in some swirls around the eyes and the belly button to show how this Pokemon is starting to lose control. And the mist that comes out of the mouth and on top of the head helps subtly break up the silhouette. Yeah, I think this works very well. Okay, let's meet Nombomble, the hungry Pokemon. The hunger that Nomble once had has grown in intensity, and now fire relentlessly burns in its stomach. Nombomble have great difficulty focusing on anything that isn't food, and they can be quite difficult to train. Letting out blasts of icy mist 1 second and superheated air the next, this Pokemon can be quite dangerous. The ability is still Gluttony, so that lets it eat berries sooner, with the hidden ability being Immunity. The Ice and Fire typing is completely unexpected, but Nombomble does have plenty of Dark-type attacks to launch at you. After avoiding its hungry chomps, you shut it down, and Valentino is forced to send out his last Pokemon. Remember that tiny Rappet he got way back when? Well, that turned into a Hoaxian Trubbish, and now it's time for our Garbodor. Continuing the Gravity Falls Summerween motif, it's time for the Summerween Trickster. I try not to have too many Pokemon that are just, direct Gravity Falls parallels, but I love the Summerween Trickster episode, and Garbodor needs some love. I also think it's, just hilarious to have it up on these two weird tall legs, kind of like Alolan Executor. They're both just tall and strange. Now, its body is still candy, but playing with the, torn wrapper bag look, we get something that feels like the Trickster's hat and tattered coat. Matching Garbodor's arms with black licorice. We still get the same look of that. And candy corn in the teeth. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. Okay, let's check out Hoaxian Garbodor, the trash heap Pokemon. Unlike its slow-moving Unovan counterpart, the Hoaxian variant of Garbodor has sprouted long legs made of old discarded candy. While much of its body is comprised of less than desirable sweets, it does hold on to some delicious candy that it gives to anyone who enjoys its playful tricks and silly scares. The ability is Aftermath, so after it faints, it explodes and hurts the attacker, with the hidden abilities being Sticky Hold and Sweet Veil. It's surprisingly fast on those gangly legs, and Valentino smirks at you. He holds a gem dangling from his wallet chain. Yep, it's Beast Merge time. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with this, since, we already have the Summerween Trickster, so where do you go from there? Luckily, I've got some insight from Turnover Disc, one of our Patreon people hanging out with me in the Discord server. They pointed me towards the good old Gravity Falls water tower, which is often tied to Robbie or Valentino. And then I combined that with a much more recent bit of urban legend, lore, creepypasta fun, being Siren Head. And then on top of that, there's the whole brainwashing music that Robbie has in the show, and it all just fits together. I started sketching, and it just fell into place. We're letting the candy really rot in this form, giving us the poison type, meaning if you had planned to destroy this dark type specialist with a fighting type, you are suddenly up against a poison fairy type at the very end. Yeah, that's kind of fun. Okay, let's learn all about our Beast Merge Garbodor, the Siren Tower. This once friendly heap of candy explodes, reforms into writhing tendrils, and lifts their trainer into the air. Cones amplify the trainer's negative thoughts and blast poison-type sound attacks at opponents. The sonic waves are so intense that spectators feel their nauseating effects. After unfusing, trainers suffer from a day of vertigo and ringing in their ears. And the ability is something new called Sickly Sound. So poison type attacks are now treated as sound-based moves, which are able to also hit steel types. Yeah, that's kind of fun. Valentino towers over you, bumping his head on the ceiling. You're glad you were able to heal up your team before this battle, as it's proven to be pretty tough. But you finally knock him out. He separates, you skip over, and take the device component from your forlorn opponent.
Whatever. I don't really want it anyway.
Okay, buddy. All right, let's go get that back to the professor.
You head outside just as 4 figures emerge from the mist.
Oh, geez. Who's this now? Maybe it's the punks who kidnapped Sandy. Get ready for a battle.
Whoa. It's just us.
Yeah, it just took forever to catch up to you in all of this gloomy fog.
Well, did you find Sandy? Is she okay?
We tried to catch them, but they shook us in these stupid woods. We're so sorry. But we did get another piece of your machine, Professor.
Ah, that's great, Cordy. I'm gonna have you take that back to the research shack, and don't feel too bad about losing to them. I couldn't even catch up to that little slimeball Glee. But luckily, we've got a new lead.
Being at the museum with all y'all, I remembered writing more of the book. There's one more thing from that page that they've been harvesting, and I know where it is. There's a mine nearby that will let us get down into a jungle cenote. Here, give me that map of yours.
McFadden adds an indicator to your map for the mine's location. Cordelia heads back to the research shack with the device component that you won from Valentino, while the rest of you cross through the spooky forest. Out in the woods, you run into a new Pokémon. You see a strange glow coming from the top of a tree, and a small spider skitters down to investigate you. Okay, so this line is going to combine 2 things. The first are, spider cryptids. Most specifically, it'll eventually look like the Jorogumo, which I know that's technically a yokai, not a cryptid, but I don't know. I wanted some more Japanese inspirations in the decks, and the Jorogumo, just looks freaking sweet. And the other thing, which I have just always wanted as a Pokemon, is a Blacklight. Good old dark electric Blacklight. I just think that's neat, so we're gonna do it. This is a 2-stage, so it's going to start out super simple, mainly just a big old bulb butt and some legs. I gave it some dramatic eyes, which will help tie it to the proper Japanese eye makeup look that the evolution will have. Yeah, I don't know, nothing too crazy here. I just had some fun figuring out the best way to render the look of a Blacklight. Okay, let's meet Violet, the dark glow Pokemon. Researchers are unsure if it is this dark type's glass-like abdomen or the filament within, but it is able to absorb light and emit its own ultraviolet light. Violet uses its strange glow to disorient prey before leaping on them and draining their life force. While often moody, they commonly befriend Unce and enjoy a good dance party. The ability is Tinted Lens, the colored glass, which powers up not very effective moves, and the hidden ability is Battery. It dances about for you. If you have an Unce with you, this little buddy will quite literally jump into one of your Pokeballs to be its buddy. Continuing on, you also see plenty of Mushimind. In fact, there are so many that you decide to catch a few more. Now, there are clues that would be in the journal about a strange evolution method, and when you fill your party with all Mushimind, they fuse together into one strange evolution. And this is an evolution method that I just wish existed in Pokemon for real. If I have 3 Diglets, I want them to combine and turn into a Dugtrio, or Magnemites or whatever. It's just the thing that I want. So a party of Mushiminds is going to turn into a little horde fusion design. Now, I knew that I wanted all their brains to just combine into one giant brain. This is partially because it is a psychic type after all, but also to continue the Perceptrum inspiration from that episode of Gravity Falls. I also had it planned out that all 6 of the Mushimind torsos and legs would get repurposed into the arms and legs of this new evolution. So getting the feet to be the fingers and whatnot, it made me happy from a design angle. Alrighty, let's check out Zomboard, the brain fungus Pokemon. On very rare occasions, groups of Mushimind have been observed merging together during evolution to form a Zomboard. They are always hungry and use their powerful psychic abilities to lift their prey with telekinesis and draw them directly to them. Trainers are advised to keep their Zomboard well fed to avoid any accidental bites. The ability is Poison Touch still, so that means it may poison the target whenever they make contact, and the hidden ability, I mean it is a zombie, is Unaware. This big old brain takes a few moments for all its limbs to learn how to work together, but it is soon scuttling through the misty terrain excitedly. Having learned how to navigate through this disorienting layout with the journal's help, you arrive on the other side of the forest in no time.
So, what can we expect in here?
Oh, you know, Wilfred, you and me been in here together tons of times.
McHadron, another reminder, none of that actually happened.
No, of course not. My mind is just still a scrambled, I suppose. But I could have sworn I recalled exploring these here mines with you. Well then, it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just chock full of preserved and escaped prehistoric monsters.
Wonderful.
You step inside the cold, damp mine. Traveling deeper into the earth, the walls of the mine have strange deposits of amber. In fact, as you get deeper, the amber deposits have become so massive that they have preserved entire species of ancient Pokemon. The further you descend, the more the amber deposits seem to have melted and busted open, like things have escaped. Now, unlike the fossil Pokemon found in other regions, these were not resurrected incorrectly, with mineral impurities and have the rock type and whatnot. No, you continue along and you run into some actual factual ancient fossil Pokemon. So Cactamo, Fleetwee, and Sailil are actually some of the Pokemon from my previous region. Now, if you haven't watched the Pokemon Amber series, I'm a little biased. I think it's quite good. It's certainly worth viewing. Now, you find them and others like Chippet and Ectrio, and now is your chance to catch any of these little cuties. Also, we have another strange evolution method. If you happen to have a Capnary with you, along with at least one of these new fossil Pokemon, little Capnary will evolve. I don't know, what can I say? I love weird evolution methods. Of course, they would be hinted at in the journal somewhere, but little Capnary is going to be so inspired by its prehistoric friends that it will turn into the Ropin. This is one of those, non-extinct cryptid, dinosaur, flying reptile, good stuff. Now, though the Ropin is a little bit more than just a pterosaur, as it glows when it flies through the night sky. We are combining that with the pterodactyl from Gravity Falls and giving it a pickaxe face, since it's still tied to the blue cap design and mines from before. It all comes together and makes a nice skeletal Ropin that glows with its blue flames. Okay, let's learn all about Azurect, the faux fossil Pokemon. While this winged creature appears to be ancient, it has actually only taken this form after being influenced by other actual fossil Pokemon. It still loves to spend its time in caves and mines, where it uses its sharp beak to extract deposits of combustible minerals. The ability is Levitate, which is pretty nice for a rock and fire type, so that means it's raised off the ground, doesn't get hit by ground type moves, and the hidden ability is Flash Fire. But what do you think? Would you bring your Capnary here to meet some Fossilmons and get all inspired to evolve?
Man, oh man, this place is wild. Who knew we'd be coming face to face with actual dinosaurs?
I always suspected this day would come. So, McFadden, you said that you came down here before that weird mind control collar turned your brain into mush?
Sure did. There's a specific type of amber only found in deposits in the cenote. Prismatic amber. It's fossilized primordial infinity energy. Very rare, very powerful. And one of the key ingredients in that device what messed up my noodle. But we'll have to be careful, as the cenote has some pretty aggressive Pokemon.
You turn another corner and come to a bright opening. Just outside, you can see the lush jungles of the cenote. The area is massive, with a huge lake at its center. Being out of the cramped mines has allowed for even the largest of ancient Pokemon to thrive. Though some would be quite rare to find, you could feasibly catch anything found in the Pokemon Amber Dex here. But even amongst them, you find a new Hoaxian Pokemon that is just enjoying being around all these ancient creatures. It wiggles out of the water towards you. Okay, so this is going to be the start of a 3-stage line based on the Lao from Africa. This is a cryptid that has a few contradictory descriptions. Sometimes it's a serpent, sometimes it's more of like a theropod dinosaur looking thing, but it always has whisker tendril doodads on its face. It's often suspected that it is actually just a misidentified massive catfish, so we're gonna start out there with this tiny little fellow, but it has such big monstrous dreams that it is actually a dragon type. A pretty unassuming dragon, I know, but it'll get more intimidating as it continues to evolve. But for now, let's learn all about Tendrip, the whisker Pokemon. The somewhat terrestrial fish clambers out of the water using its sturdy front fins. Tendrip's eyesight is poor, so it explores its surroundings with a pair of dexterous whiskers. If threatened, it flails the whiskers about wildly to whack any potential threat. While small, Tendrip possesses an adventurous spirit that often gets it into troubling situations. The ability is Swift Swim, with the hidden ability being Tangling Hair. It's got the tendrils. It kind of works. And it squirms on over to you and flexes its whiskers. You could easily punt it back into the water, I don't know, but maybe you would want to catch this silly little dragon. After passing by gentle giants, tyrant lizards, and Pokemon, playfully splashing about, you are near the deposit that McFadden indicated. Unfortunately, you can hear voices ahead. And peering through the tropical foliage, you can see some Cipher Squad grunts harvesting prismatic amber from the cenote wall. All right, we're really making it through this. Okay, big thank you to all the Patreon supporters, especially Angel, Cyberlord, Mason, Alphabloom, and Leo Vega. All right, let's keep going.